We're about to finish an unusual month of weather. Yes, the 4 nor'easters are part of the story, but without unseasonable chill, those storms might have been mainly rain. The really odd part is that March will end up colder than February in much of the eastern United States. Now, to set the stage, first let's look at how much warmer March is on average than February. Areas in orange here represent 6 to 8 degrees warmer. Red is 8 to 10. Those colors dominate much of the east from New England to the lower Mississippi River Valley. Generally, as you head north and toward the interior, the average difference increases, the result of being in the middle of a continent. While as you head south and toward the moderating effects of the Gulf of Mexico and Atlantic waters, the average change from February to March decreases, just 2 to 4 degrees on the Florida Peninsula. If we zoom in and take a quick look specifically at Pennsylvania, it's pretty consistent that March is between 7.5 and 8.5 degrees warmer than February on average. Now, the simplest way to make these numbers negative, which would mean March colder than February, is for an unusually mild February to be followed by an unusually cool March. February definitely cooperated east of the Mississippi, where temperatures were warmer than average by 5 to 10 degrees or more from southern New England all the way to the Gulf Coast. And now here's the March temperature anomaly so far. The darker the green and even a few speckles of blue, the more the temperatures have been below average this month. The largest cold anomalies from Pennsylvania and Ohio south to Florida, overlapping with the unusual warmth in February. So how does March compare to February this year? I'll start close up on the Commonwealth. The negative numbers here mean that March so far has been colder than February at all the major reporting stations except Williamsport, which is right on the edge. Now, if we back out to get the wide view, we will see negative numbers over a huge swath of real estate, pretty much the entire eastern quarter of the country, either all or part of 22 states from New England to Florida. And what gets me is how negative some of these numbers are, so much so that it's fair to say that March is the new February in this part of the country this year. So how unusual is it for March to be colder than February? Well, rather than using specific locations, I looked at statewide averages. Up north in Maine, where the change from February to March averages about 10 degrees, it doesn't happen very often, just twice since 1895. Now, farther south, it's happened 5 years in both Pennsylvania and North Carolina, with 4 of the 5 the same, including last year. In the deep south, where the typical change from February to March isn't as big, it's less uncommon. 11 years in Florida, 10 different years in Mississippi. So longtime Floridians are probably annoyed with March, but they're not as surprised as us Northerners. So we probably have to give Punxsutawney Phil at least partial credit this year. He did call for 6 more weeks of winter, though it probably didn't transpire quite the way he planned it. And I suspect that spring-like temperatures will remain a bit elusive. Stay tuned. The extended forecast is next.